Culture Crew. Finding the terrible, so you don't have to. Welcome to Bad Culture Crew, the premier source for the terrible. We're so glad you've joined our journey into this week's best of the worst media. Please take a moment to get comfortable, grab your favorite alcoholic beverage, and prepare for some hilarious fucking bad. This is Bad Culture Crew. Finding the terrible, so you don't have to. Presenting your hosts, Austin Daniels and Steve Nevels.
Thank you so much, Wendy. How do I sound? Okay? Sound good?
I think you sound fabulous.
This is the Bad Culture Crew. We do find the terrible, so you don't have to. My name is Austin Daniels, sitting in the world alongside world pizza enthusiast Steve Nevels. Where do you stand on pizza?
See, boy side.
What the hell did you say?
Is that what you just said?
What? Am I drunk or
Like, I
something?
make the finest pizza in the world.
You know what I did? I left the door open. Did you see that move?
Yeah, I know.
See that move? Should I get up and close it?
It is very hot in the studio. I would advise you not to get up and close the door.
Okay.
Yeah, I just don't care today.
I don't give a shit.
Today's just one of those days. All I want to do is just cook one of my world famous no cheese pizzas. You know,
The white pizzas? Is that what they're
no,
called?
not a white pizza.
Well, you're racist.
All I do is just put dough and sauce.
Dough sauce.
That's it.
That's weird.
That's my pizza.
Did you see that there was a great pizza debate on Twitter over what the best one was? And I think it was
Papa John's.
I like Papa John's.
Yeah, they're okay.
We had Papa John's this weekend to
Yeah,
not
it doesn't
watch
really doesn't really impress me.
I forget what it was. Was Domino's the one to lose, or Little Caesars? I think it was Little Caesars was the one that went down as like the least ranked one on there.
Well, it's $5 hot and ready
It sucks.
all the time.
And then CC's.
Oh, you can eat $5 hot and
CC's
ready.
to me the worst. Sorry.
Really?
Oh God, yeah. You like CC's?
It's okay.
Oh my God, never
If you got
take
$6,
If I got
fucking
$6
on your way.
rather
if you got $6, nothing's better than all you can eat pizza for $6.
I would donate that to Bernie Sanders over that.
That's fantastic.
See what I'm saying? But I would be $21 short. Anyways, speaking of being terrible, we got
Speaking
things
of
to
being
discuss.
$21 short,
We got things to discuss. Don't we?
so
So we had a whirlwind of a week, Steve.
it's been a crazy week.
Been a crazy week. I've had car problems. We've had recording issues.
Many car problems.
Yeah. But most of all, we are going to be late on this video due to some stuff. And I think if you noticed on the, the In the Loop page,
On the In the Loop page on badculturecrewproductions.com.
Thank you, Steve, that there are, our YouTube thing has been suspended. That is something we did on our own. That is not something that we weren't like killed off of YouTube. There was nothing there. But we have to do some stuff on our own to facilitate behind the scenes.
To rectify the situation a little bit.
Yeah, we had everything planned, and then a bunch of unexpected things happen, and typically that's what happens when you launch.
As you
new
do
stuff.
with any startup or launch, a million problems arise in the midst of doing all of it. And because it's just the two of us,
Right.
it's all getting sort of bombarded on top of us. But we're going to get squared away, and hopefully sometime in the next couple days, the video version of this will be up. But
Yeah.
for now, you can enjoy it as you have every week
That will always happen.
on your podcast feed.
The blogs will always happen. The terror will always happen, as we are terrible.
The terrible will always happen. So
I just
there's
wanna-
never
yeah.
any short of that.
I just want to feel bad about two things. One, didn't clean my nails today. Look really dirty.
It's fucking disgusting.
I also feel like it's like I like you, very passionate about this stuff. So I always feel bad when I have to let people down or something like that. So we will have something up soon once we
I
figure
feel
some
like
stuff
we're
out.
more than anything just letting ourselves down.
Well, we are disappointments. That's why we do this. That's why we let
I'm a
it back.
big fucking colossal disappointment.
Steve, did you know that we do a show
I had no idea that we were even doing one
that we
today.
may or may not put on video? Let's see.
Oh boy,
Okay, let's talk about the show that is new.
new
Therapy.
show.
This is weird to say because it's like I got into a routine and now I got these new segments going on. And we have a third new segment we haven't even talked about yet. That's coming up in
Probably another
2 weeks.
2 weeks. Yes, a third new segment.
How about that? We're still doing stuff, guys. You have a blog coming out today?
There will be a blog coming out today.
What are you doing this blog on? Because you have
There's a
can't
horror
read it
movie
yet.
that I watched earlier this week, released by Breaking Glass Pictures, called Riddle Room.
All right.
That you could read all about.
Batman?
Some very ridiculous things happen in this movie, and I laid it out for you in great detail in my review for 2016's Riddle Room from Breaking Glass Pictures.
That's cool. So check that out. I will have, I don't know when, I don't know if it'll be up Thursday, but I'll promote this now. I will be reviewing a new video game an old video game.
An old video game coming out in 1997.
That'll be up soon. If you follow my Twitter, you already know what it is. So let's talk about the show. Therapy sesh this week. I'm in charge of it. I'm going to talk about parties and smartphones from Miss Manners.
Oh my God. Let me tell you something. Nothing takes my dick and spirals it through a meat grinder more than people who live on their smartphones at parties.
Yeah. Couldn't have said it better myself.
Of course you couldn't.
The challenge this week, I will finally half-ass my challenge with my GoFundMe apology.
He better tell us how fucking sorry he is for making us all look like fools in participating in his ridiculously stupid GoFundMe.
You're welcome. Next up, the pick a side, Steve. We got to pick a side between. What are we doing?
Picking a side this week between the Razzies and the Oscars. Do you prefer the worst, or do you prefer what I guess society considers the best? And we'll talk all about that.
Sure.
You're going to have to pick a side this week.
I'll do it. I know what I'm going to pick. You're also in charge of making it weird. What are we talking about in the Make It Weird segment?
All I'm going to say is we're talking about a jacket.
Think you know what that means, guys. And Steve closes the show talking about Leap Day because it was earlier this week.
Yeah, well, if you guys didn't notice, you had an extra day in the month of February. Actually, an extra day this year. I'm going to tell you a little history about Leap Day, what it means, where it comes from, and some of the strange superstitions that are associated with the day. And just a little FYI segment there at the end of to close out the show for this very unusual extra day this year.
Got a lot of things to talk about on Leap Day, believe it or not. And we won't be able to talk about that for another 4 years.
That's right. So this is once every 4 years that I'll be able to make these jokes.
But you know what? Before we do all that, it's time for the Bad Culture Commentary.
Culture Commentary.
All right. I'm writing this minutes after watching the solid 3.5-hour Oscar performance that was this past Sunday night. Spotlight won Best Picture. Leo finally got his award, and celebrities got preachy as well as droned on to countlessly thank people I've never heard of. But the most interesting thing was how Chris Rock manned the elephant in the room. Oscars so white. Rock, in my opinion, nailed it. It's no coincidence that he walked out in a white blazer. But it's what he said that really captured and mediated the controversy. First, he called out our girl Jada, claiming that she's not even in the movies right now. She's in TV shows. Then he called out black people, saying that there are other more important things to protest. But then he also called out Hollywood, claiming that the opportunities are still not equal, explicitly comparing Hollywood to a sorority to better illustrate the situation. Throughout the night, he did his hostly duties and took slight jabs on the Academy, but respectfully, Rock handles this very beautifully. Quite a tightrope this man walked, and I am more than impressed with how Rock took on the controversy. With the exception of bringing attention to raped and sexually abused victims, the show was what it always was. Long, boring, and a bunch of people patting each other on the back for films I don't care to see. Well, with the exception of 50 Shades of Grey, which was nominated for Best Original Song, and that's my Bad Culture Commentary, Steve.
Holy fucking shit. You're telling me that 50 Shades was nominated for something at the Academy Awards?
50 Shades made quite an impression on
Holy
everybody this
smokes,
year.
That's just out of control.
I forget what the song was called.
But anyway, I think that Chris Rock, I agree with you. I think that he did a phenomenal job tackling what I would consider to be a very turmoilous time for
weird.
The Academy.
Yeah, it was weird.
I think that he did an excellent job. He had some really funny jokes in there.
Yes, he did.
Pointing out Jada, saying that
What's she been in?
Yeah, well, pointing that she's in TV, and he's like, Jada boycotting the Oscars is like me boycotting Rihanna's panties. I wasn't invited.
Yeah, it was great.
That was classic.
That was great.
But
I have the whole transcript here.
I do. I totally agree with everything he said regarding. There's bigger shit out there to worry about than boycotting Will Smith not being nominated for a movie that scored a 62% on Metacritic.
There was a lot of good actors this year, honestly. There really
a
was.
ton of good actors.
Our boy Eddie Redmayne was there.
And Eddie Redmayne did make a comment about winning his Razzie.
He was cool about it.
He
was
loved
dope
it.
about it. I was like,
He was like, I'm going home. He was like, I'm going home with something.
Yeah. And then he claimed, he's like, yeah, I tried something new. Completely disastrous. I was like, I love this guy. Yeah, I mean, this was, he kind of talked about how the only real racist, like, conflict he had, it's like, it's not like, go get my coffee racist. It's not like slavery racist. He was just saying it's like, it's more like, we're not getting the same opportunities, and it's more of sorority racism, which made sense. It's like, you just don't fit the mold for this. But
Sure,
is that
and
necessarily racist?
Yeah, now is that Hollywood's fault from a casting standpoint?
I don't know.
Or is that Hollywood's fault from a writing standpoint?
Yeah, because-
like they're not writing empowering African American roles, so the Academy is punishing African Americans for not getting those jobs because they're being typecasted? Is that the problem?
Maybe so. And the biggest point I loved from him was, why are we separating
Males,
actors and actresses?
Yes, male and female. Yeah,
And
I don't.
by that definition, he's 100% right, because it's like, you should just have black this, and then what? Because he's like, who? Let me find the quote here. It was like, it's not like somebody had to slow down and let somebody let Meryl Streep catch up.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Robert De Niro is not. He's like, whoa, I better slow this acting down.
Yeah, it was great. I'm trying to find the quote here. Let me see here. There's a lot here.
But I don't understand. I've never understood why we've separated and segregated the men and women. Like, it's just who did the best job.
Yeah. Yeah,
you know,
and but he handled it. He took both sides, and he had fun with it. He wasn't polarizing in an unfair way. You know, he was good. He was good.
But I didn't expect anything less, because Chris Rock, if you're familiar with his stand-up at all, he digs into the topic of racial segregation and everything so often that I think that they picked the perfect guy for this particular Academy Awards.
Yeah. I can't find it. It's on here somewhere. I'm just not being able to find it right now. I should have highlighted it, but I don't give a fuck.
You probably should have highlighted it. You know, that way you look like a fucking professional.
See, I was like trying to get you to talk
Instead,
more,
you
so
look
I could
like
sit
a
here.
bum.
Well, I am a bum. I don't give a shit here.
But
here
yeah,
it is.
one of the big things that Chris Rock brought up was
I found
why.
it.
Go ahead.
You don't need to separate them, you know? Robert De Niro's never said, I better slow this acting down so Meryl Streep can catch up. And I was like, that makes sense.
Sure.
And if you want black people to win at the Oscars, you have to have black categories like Black Best Friend. That's right. And the winner for the 18th year in a row is Wanda Sykes.
Wanda Sykes. Yeah.
This is her 18th Best Black Act Oscar.
And how he kept on losing out roles to Kevin Hart and all that.
Yeah, it was
good.
It was fair. I liked it, and I think it brought some peace to the scenario. honestly. He didn't sit there and try to, like, you know. I like it when he said during the show, he's like, "We're black," and he was fine. And I just want to appreciate that, because every time where something happens, whatever he has to say is right. Remember the bullet thing that you brought up years ago about
$5,000 for a bullet?
Yeah, then you really want to kill somebody, and I'm like, that's funny, man.
Yeah, he has a way of taking
really
that extreme, but he's not wrong.
No, he's got some good points.
It makes sense.
So anyways, anything you want to add to that? Because we're going to save some more stuff about the actual Oscar ceremony later.
I totally
in the
lost
show.
my train of thought whenever you broke back in with that. I'm done.
Okay, good, because we're going to talk more about the Oscars later on in the show. Anyways, get on Bad Culture Crew Productions or go to the Bad Culture Crew Twitter. Let us know what you thought about Chris Rock at the Oscars. I liked it. Steve liked it.
I enjoyed it. I thought
you have
it was
no
a good
sense
laugh.
of humor.
Great 10 minutes of just dealing with a very difficult issue.
And he made it fun. And that's the only thing you needed to watch, honestly. All right, Steve, let's move on with the show here. Let's get into the therapy sesh.
Therapy sesh.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
This is my first one.
Yeah, I hope it's a good one.
It's fine.
It better be good. This better blow my fucking socks off.
Your socks will remain on, but we'll make light of it.
This better be good.
Calm your tits.
Hurry up.
Dear Miss Manners, I was at a party last weekend. Oh, I'm sorry. Let me get into this. This is from missmanners.com. This is what I think.
Thanks for clarifying that.
Dear Miss Manners, I was at a party last weekend where there were drinks, a buffet, music, and conversation. It was all very pleasant until a few people, not the host or hostess, decided to turn off the music and play videos for the crowd on their phones instead. The party suddenly became a quiet mass of people, huddled around a smartphone, and folks in the other parts of the house could no longer hear the music that had been playing. The hostess was very gracious but visibly annoyed. I find that this sort of behavior has become more and more common at parties, and I wonder, what is a host or hostess to do when their party is commandeered by funny cat videos? What is a host or hostess to do in
Okay,
this situation?
Got it.
We're here, Steve. What do you think?
All right, so what you do is you see that fucking dick that pulled their phone out, and they're, stealing the limelight from the general entertainment and making it about just a specific 2 or 3 people that are able to gather around a little small 4-inch screen.
Interesting.
You go out to the shed where you keep all of your gardening tools, and you grab the can of gasoline that you have there for the lawnmower. You bring that inside.
Gotcha. Follow
You find that fucking piece of trash that is taking your guests away from probably a playlist that you have prepared, or
Yeah, I mean-
or a Spotify channel that you specifically picked out.
Who was on this playlist?
There was probably a lot of thought. I'd imagine Adele was probably on it.
Yes, people like Adele. Was Katy Perry probably on
Our
that?
girl Kesha was probably on it.
We do like Kesha.
You know,
we
I
got to
bet.
promote her.
So you take this can of gasoline and you proceed to douse this fucking filth all over the person who was responsible for this. You then walk back into the kitchen, as I'm sure by now they are incredibly confused. You find your Bic lighting stick.
It has to be Bic. You can't
It has
get
to
any-
be the
you
Bic
can't-
one
you can't.
because that's the only one that will, effectively get across what you're trying to convey.
We're totally endorsed by Bic.
You go back out to the general party area and you proceed to light this person's tuxedo or dress on fire until they are laying in an fiery, ashy abomination. Say,
Yes. So you burn them alive.
you burn.
We got.
I mean, what I'm trying to say is you probably should just burn them alive.
I don't know if that's the right approach.
This is what I would do.
Let me think of what I would do in this situation. Well, depends on what kind of cat video we're talking about here.
Nope, has nothing to do with the video.
It could be,
Set 'em on
a
fire.
really cool cat video.
Yep.
And that's what a party is now. People on their phones all the time. At least everybody was huddled together communally.
But was
phone.
it everybody?
Everybody at the
This
party.
sounds like a big party.
It sounds like this person doesn't know. Like, first of all, who throws parties like this? Where it's like, what are we at? Like, 17th century here. We have dinner parties. Like, we all dress up in
Come on.
Victorian age things.
Sure, yeah, everybody had their wig
With
on.
like that Helen
Very-
Mirren movie that
very
I never
rustic.
saw. You ever see that movie? What is it? I forgot what it was.
What movie?
The Helen Mirren movie that I never saw, where everybody dressed up nice and won
Nope.
best costume design.
I know
at the Oscars years
Moulin
ago.
Rouge.
No.
Yeah,
no.
I know that one.
No, yeah, you do.
Romeo and Juliet.
No, I forgot what it's called. Helen Mirren's in it. Somebody look it up for me. Thank you.
That's terrible.
Yeah, so everybody dresses up, and then you know what? They pop up their cell phone, little move there. So what if it's a cool video?
What really irritates me is
It is kind of irritating
is
when
when
people do
people are in a giant gathering like that. And I mean, I guess in this instance, they were using the phone to engage with each other. They're like, "Oh, look at this funny video."
Right.
I hate situations where people are at a party and everybody's face is buried in their fucking phone.
Yeah.
And nobody is talking to each other.
Right.
That's the absolute worst, and I don't understand what you're doing out in public.
I don't know
If
either.
you're just going to sit there and just fucking Angry Birds on your phone the whole time.
Got to beat that level. Got to take down those green
I can't
pigs.
take it.
Got to
I
prepare
hate
for the
I
movie
hate
that's
the
coming out
sounds
this summer.
that those pigs make in that game.
I've never played Angry
Nothing
Birds in
more
my life.
frustrating.
You've played it, right?
I have never played it.
You've never played it?
No.
Never played it either.
I just know that it looks terrible.
What do you think you should do?
You probably shouldn't be playing it at a
It is
dinner
kind of
party.
rude. It is really kind of rude, you know?
I wish there was an age range for the person that submitted this question.
They were millennials, probably.
These are the overprivileged, underworked millennials. Is that
right.
who submitted this?
Yes,
They're
yes.
the ones having the dinner
The
parties.
Bernie Sanders voters. all there.
My dinner parties consist of mac and cheese with hot dogs in them.
Ooh,
You know.
that sounds terrible.
I'm still at that point. Like I'm fucking 8 years old.
My parties consist of pizza that I order and then go out afterwards, and then it's like lukewarm by the time we get back.
That makes sense. Like the best Papa John's
And then we
has to
watch
offer.
something terrible, which is awesome. We got so much. Anyways, what do you think we should do about this? Gonna have Bad Culture Group Productions. Tell us. Or go to the Bad Culture Group Twitter. Let us know.
Tell us all about how you use your smartphone at a party.
This show is great. I love this show. We're gonna get into a really short segment.
Really short segment.
The challenge.
Challenge.
Oh, yeah. So, what I have to do last month, what was this challenge here?
Okay, this challenge was a little tricky because the original challenge was unaccomplishable. Couldn't do it.
Legalities.
Was not able to do the original challenge, which was create a GoFundMe page for the dumbest, most ridiculous thing that you could possibly think of, and let's see how much money you can get. Let's see how dumb people really are and how much money. I mean, people are giving Kanye West like $53 million on GoFundMe. You know, so I'm thinking
So
anything
he
that
can
he
pay
puts
for
up
his-
could be much more comparable.
So you can pay for his ripped DVDs and all that shit, right?
so that he can pay for the for all the things that he's torrenting off the internet that we learned about today. That was great.
Yes.
So then we revised the challenge, and I said, okay, well,
Yeah.
let's... okay, you don't have to post this. What you're going to do is you're going to write an apology letter to everybody that you basically ripped off and tell them why you are such an idiot for making such a stupid GoFundMe.
So, and I had to write 1,000 words.
He had a 1,000-word essay.
Now, here is what I did. So I wrote it. It will be up on badculturecrewproductions.com in the Stay in the Loop page. You can read it. There will be a link to it.
Oh, that's wonderful.
It's going to be great. I don't know why you want to read it. It's really stupid. So I wrote this thing, and basically what happens in the thing is...
What happens in the thing?
Do you want me to tell you the whole thing, or do you want people to just go there?
Tell me about it, because I'm not going to read it.
So, don't. It sucks. So, what I wrote was, basically, I got into this Twitter war with some French, I don't know, Twitter site or something like that. Some French Twitter page. Sorry.
Some French Twitter page.
And we were discussing. We were discussing.
This is disgusting.
What is the superior cheese? And of course, I am backing Cabot cheese, the best cheese on the planet. They claim
Shamelessly endorsed by Cabot cheese.
they claim over there in France that their cheese is pretty awesome. But then I come back and start going, no, it's not. It's all smelly and weird. And then I go through all these different cheeses that are really weird. Then we get into this kind of a tweef, as they call it. I overreact.
tweef?
Yes.
Is that like a queef?
No.
Okay.
So I get into this tweef with them. It's a beef Twitter. It's a Twitter
Sounds
beef.
fucking weird. I don't like that
And
word.
I
I'm
was
not going to
like,
hear it again.
I was like, I could be using it wrong. I don't know. I'm 28. I don't fucking know anything. So then I was like, all right. So they convinced me that the moon is made of cheese. So I go, well, maybe that is the best cheese in the universe. Haven't tried it yet.
That sounds delicious,
So
actually.
my goal
Moon
was
cheese?
to raise $1,000 to go to the moon to take a slice of the moon cheese back to prove that it is still inferior to Cabot cheese and that Cabot cheese is the best cheese in the world. And then I tell this whole story on Twitter and then I apologize because the moon is not made of cheese.
So did you make it to the moon?
No, because then I realized that they were lying because the moon is not made of cheese. It's actually from
Well, how would you... So where does the GoFundMe fit in?
when I thought the moon was made of cheese.
You were going to get a GoFundMe going
Yes.
to get a trip to the moon.
Yeah. Which is a great movie, by the way.
So were you going to like build a rocket ship with this money, or what? Like, what was the funds for?
I don't know. Just get to the moon. Use a spaceship, get to the moon. $1,000.
You were asking for $1,000?
Yeah, because that's what I thought what it would take to get to the moon. That seems about right, economically speaking. Like just $1,000 to get to the moon. I mean, basically, you.
I think you would have exceeded the goal tenfold.
Yeah.
I think you would have made 10 grand before they shut you down.
So then I conceded it. So, but then I was like, oh wait a minute, that's not true. And then I fought back.
So you had to apologize to all of us.
I did. I apologize. And then throughout the thing, I keep writing like jokes just to lengthen the story to get it to 1,000 words. Like, why am I writing this? And there's like all this weird stuff in
Yeah,
between.
just because you're a
And
lame-o.
I call you out and
Gotcha.
and I ended at exactly 1,000 words. It's really great. So
Well, as long as you hit the 1,000, because it had to be exactly 1,000 words.
Yeah,
I don't want 1,001.
no, it was
want
exactly
1,000 words.
It was.
Okay, perfect.
I think the last sentence is this is 1,000 words or something.
Okay, good. Well, then I will read it just to make sure
It is.
that the challenge was completed correctly.
I did it completely correctly. So that's it. You can go to Bad Culture Crew Productions. Check that out if you want to. If you don't, fine.
Yeah, nobody's going to read your moon cheese story.
Read Steve's blog instead, please. Steve, here's what we're going to do.
What's up?
This is a long game one. A little bit of a long game
Oh,
challenge.
this
You ready?
is what we call the long con?
Yeah, but it's cool.
Great.
Our anniversary is coming up on May 7th.
Oh, man, what'd you get me?
Nothing.
Like, not even an engagement ring?
Because men don't remember anniversaries.
Oh, you bitch.
So I thought that you are, throughout your last words, okay, you talk a lot about, how do you say this? You talk a lot about holidays and how stupid holidays are and how cool holidays are. You talk about Thanksgiving this year. We talked about
a lot of holidays.
talked about Valentine's Day. We're gonna
Basically,
talk
any
about Leap
holiday
Day.
that has happened, we've talked about.
We talked about fake holidays. Talked about a lot of things. Arbor Day's coming up too at some point, so we're gonna have.
That's
an
your
Arbor Day
favorite
show.
holiday.
I can't wait for Arbor Day. You know, we're gonna do shit for holiday. So I thought for our anniversary, because we are the Bad Culture Crew, you would invent a holiday
Okay.
to be celebrated on May 7th, which is our anniversary. That is Bad Culture
That
Day.
marks the 1-year anniversary of the show.
Right.
Wow.
Weird. It's 2 months. And I want you to come up with traditions and things that you would do, much like Frank Costanza came up with Festivus.
For
you are going
Festivus,
to
yes.
come up with rituals or ceremonies or whatever it is we're going to do, and you're going to announce what those are next month so we can execute
So we can
them
celebrate it?
in
So it has to be something that we can celebrate.
oh absolutely.
There's no trip to the moon involved,
if
huh?
part of going to the moon is it, then I guess we have to go to the moon.
Okay.
But
well, let's get that GoFundMe going. Turn that $1,000 on now. It's going to go a long way.
so that is what I want you to do because you're very critical of holidays, and I think you would be a perfect candidate to create a new
I
holiday.
feel like I could make probably the best holiday that anybody's ever heard of or seen.
I can't
ever
wait
in existence.
to see what the ceremonial Bad Culture Day will be.
Yeah,
you know?
if it's called that, it probably won't be, but
something.
it'll be something associated.
That's
maybe,
marketable.
maybe with the show.
Maybe, you know. So that's the next month's challenge, Steve. So
I dig
much
it.
luck with that.
It'll be
sir.
okay.
Steve, you're gonna round out the show while I sit on my ass and not pay attention to you. So what do we do?
Yeah, it sounds like I got a lot of.
Yeah, I did the front. You come in. I tap you in the bullpen.
Okay, so I've got a lot of things to talk about here at the end.
Yeah, dear God.
Well, how about another one of our news segments? The Razzies were the night before the Oscars this year, and if you haven't heard anything that we've been talking about for the last month, we did an entire Razzie show. We did a Razzies reaction show, and we talked all about these awards that celebrate the worst night for Hollywood. But now it's time for us to debate which is the better night. We're going to pick a side.
Pick a side.
So much to debate here in terms of which is the better night. Would you rather see the worst that Hollywood has to offer, or would you rather see the best that Hollywood has to offer?
Now we're talking in terms of the ceremony, Oscars and Razzies.
Well, just the event in general. Like, you can sort of encompass all of it, like
Prepare the pool so that you enter.
Yeah. Just
the
the-
red carpet.
just the experience, how it makes you feel.
Okay.
What would you prefer? Would you prefer to celebrate the best, or would you prefer to celebrate the worst?
Fairly easy question for me. It is the Razzies. It's I think you're probably going to go the same way here. I have a lot of things I don't like about the Oscars. We can get into them when we focus on that. But to me, what this is going to sound really like, oh my God, I have a crush on you. But what brought us together was how much we hated a lot of stuff, but loved to hate it.
See, he's talking about how we first met.
Exactly.
He loves it.
We never liked each other. That's why we became friends. I was like, wow, I want to be with somebody I can't stand.
And here we are.
So the Razzies, though, encompasses the most. It's stuff you've never seen before. You know, it's like, what did they do? And a lot of these people are well-known people that how did they fuck this up?
But that's sort of the thing about the Oscars, too, is like this year, Spotlight won Best Picture. I have never fucking heard of this movie.
Now, funny thing, one of our listeners, he's a big
Viewer/listeners.
I think the only one he watched was Spotlight this year. Loved it. Thought it was really great. And I'm sure they're really great.
I've heard that it's okay. I heard that it's decent. But I didn't hear that until after it won Best Picture.
Yeah,
because I was reading the results the next day, and I was like, what the fuck is this movie that won
I've never
Best
heard of it.
Picture?
Because we focus so much on the bad stuff that we don't appreciate some of the good stuff. So I really stand with that. It's like, and I feel like what sucks is that I wish the ceremony of the Razzies was live or whatever the hell's going on. It doesn't make much sense, and it should be on YouTube, and it'd be great. It'd be a fun ceremony to watch, and it's quick and snappy, and it's categories you care about, and you kind of love to see what happens. We made it an event. We spent an entire 2 months preparing for the Razzie show, only for nothing, but we still had fun in the journey. You know what I'm
I'll say
saying?
it wasn't all for nothing. Like we still did the
That's what
show.
I'm saying.
and-
Oh yeah, that's
now
what I'm saying.
I,
Yeah. Where do you stand? Do you
because the
Razzies, Oscars?
now I am going to side with the Razzies. So
Okay.
like Razzies are much more appealing to me.
Yeah.
I almost didn't side with the Razzies just because of how terrible of a job they marketed the event, how they portrayed the event, how they distributed
Yeah,
the
the
event,
communication
which
was very
was
poor.
nothing,
Yeah, it was very
zero,
poor.
silence. And for the 2 months leading up to it, every art. Now, of course, I didn't see the Razzies official page ever post anything about it being live.
Right.
But every article from reliable sources
Yeah.
that I read said Razzies. Watch the Razzies live on their YouTube channel. You can see the Razzies live on their YouTube channel. They had to have gotten that information from somewhere. People weren't just fucking making that up.
Yeah, it's weird. I'm sure somebody started it and then they could have ripped it from some other site, which is bad journalism. We know that. But,
Right.
But
So is that what happened this year? Was
Maybe.
just a case of bad journalism?
But then on the other side, it's like, why not do that? And Steve and I have talked about this offline before. I don't know if you want to talk about it here. No,
what?
what we think should do and what we would do.
No, I'm not
okay,
talking about
fair
it here,
enough.
but
But anyways, it makes sense for them to do that. Basically, that's all I want to say. Anyways,
yeah, it's
Yeah.
every year the Oscar. Now, something that I did want to bring up during the opening for the culture commentary and the Oscars
Sure.
discussion was that the Oscars viewership has declined every single year, and this year it hit an 8-year low.
it hit a low this year,
Yes.
even with the Oscars so
all
white.
of the controversy.
Wow.
It's still
I thought it would've went up.
at an 8-year low.
Wow.
For this year.
That's a
and that was something
that's so
that
weird.
really surprised me because I figured if anything could turn this around, because I'm noticing this more and more every year. Nobody gives a fuck to watch this bullshit ceremony that's egregiously long.
It's too long. It's way too long.
It takes, I mean, it starts at 8 p.m.
8:30 now,
8:30 on the East Coast and wraps up around midnight.
and then 7:30 have the red carpet coverage, and then like all these.
And it's
people
like
running
all
around.
about who's wearing what.
And then that was also an offensive thing. Whatever. It's just like
don't fucking care.
the thing with it.
and apparently nobody else does either.
Well, I think we've grown into a situation where people want to watch stuff on their own time because people are busier now. People have other things to do. And the fact that you can just watch something streaming, right? Or you can watch something on YouTube later, or you can watch this in a news article. You kind of get the gist of what happened at the Oscars. Years ago, it's like, you better watch it at this time. And if you haven't taped it, you're fucked. You missed it.
Right. But those are sort of things like the Oscars, the Razzies. Those are something that you have to watch live. Because once the awards have been given out, and
You
once
already
the,
know on
once
Twitter and-
once you read the list, like the excitement isn't there anymore. Like it's no fun to sit and watch like a DVR version of the fucking Oscars.
No.
Who the hell
No,
does that?
but you can get the highlights. I was just thinking, like, I watched the whole thing for the first time in years this year, and the only reason I watched it was because I wanted to see the Chris Rock thing. Which, by the way, just watch the first 15 minutes. You know what it is.
Yeah, I was gonna say I only watched
That's
the
all you need to
clip
watch.
that you sent for the commentary, and that's all I've seen from the
And
Oscars.
everything else, it's like, and I know this sounds mean, but there's so many categories that aren't of any interest to mainstream America.
For the general public, yeah, nobody.
Best foreign short,
yeah,
nobody.
But
cares. I'm
even
sorry.
more. Directed towards the North Americas. I'm sorry.
Sound
I
editing?
I
Who
understand. Mad Max: Fury Road won like 7 for sound.
special effects, and it's like,
Nobody cares about sound editing.
yeah, and it's like, I get that. That's a lot of work. You and I
It
know
is
that's a lot of work.
tremendous amount of work, and those people are so
And good for them.
underappreciated.
And good for them.
But
And-
guess what? Nobody's sitting around going, bro, just sitting by the water cooler like, hey, bro, guess who won best sound editing last night?
And what's funny is like I watched the VGAs this year and I loved it. It was great. It was a 2-hour snappy performance. They cut down to the ones that you cared about. And then things like best sound editor or whatever, those like kind of weird categories that nobody knows anything about. They just kind of said, and the winner for this was this, and the winner for this was this. And then they threw in announcements for upcoming video games and upcoming premieres. And it was like, it was a cool video game celebration,
Sure.
the Oscars, it's just dated now, It's like a bunch of people in a room, as I talked about, congratulating yourselves on movies you haven't seen, and they're all basically artsy films with the exception of Mad Max and I guess The Martian this year of mainstream Hollywood movies. I think I'm missing one too. But it's like, like I look back and I'm like, you're right. Like my friend saw Spotlight, but you didn't even know what it was. I didn't know what it was until now.
Yeah.
And
this is the way that I'm gonna. This,
but
is
I
the
knew
way,
what Jupiter Ascending was. I knew what 50
I
Shades
knew
of Grey was.
I knew what they were. Yeah, I knew what all the worst pictures were.
Yeah.
I had no idea what was even nominated for Best Picture. This is how I'm going to sell everybody on it, and this is how, if you look at it this way, everybody's going to side with us and say, "Oh my God, yeah, why am I not watching the Razzies?" Picture it like this: nobody stops when they're driving down the road and looks on the other side of the median, and they see just oncoming traffic doing its regular thing, just going the other way. That's kind of like the Oscars. Like, it's there and you see it and it's passing by. Now, when traffic is like stopped on your side and everybody's crawling past to see like a train, like a big car wreck on the other side of the median, that's what everybody wants to see. It's not pretty, but for some reason we all have to stop and gaze at it.
Yeah.
That's what the Razzies are compared to the Oscars.
Because you sit there and it's like,
So
how did this happen?
How did this happen? Exactly. You see something like a car flipped on its side on a flatland, and you're like, how did they do that?
Right. And that's kind of what the Razzies are. That's like beautiful comparison.
And so that's, if you look at it that way, you'll be watching the Razzies every year.
if they premiere it, whatever.
If they decide to do. And you know what? Just a very small snippet of what Austin was trying to get at earlier.
Yeah.
We are going to reach out to the Razzies, and we are going
you're
to
gonna say it now.
put in our 2 cents and kind of tell them, you guys are doing this all wrong. There's such
You can win the internet.
untapped market, yes, for something like this.
Yeah. And we want to get out there. Copyright us. So if you get out there, that's our idea. Jerks.
So hopefully you're listening, Razzies.
I will say this, 2 things though. One, another thing I cannot stand is when these presenters come out and they say these corny back and forth things. Like it was like Ryan Gosling
It sounds
and Colin,
so fucking scripted. Like
Tina
these
Fey
people are
and
supposed to be
Steve
actors.
Carell, and it was like Tina Fey's drunk guys. And I was like, fuck this. This sucks. The Razzies, at least from my understanding, do all these dopey skits that are at least amusingly
But
stupid.
it's supposed to be stupid.
And I'm like, this is like, we're trying to make you laugh and be politically correct at the same time. And then, of course, we got to talk about the environment. Here's another thing. They never talk about the movies, ever. They never talk about the
I know.
craft.
If
they talk
anybody-
about their political stance.
If anybody caught Leonardo DiCaprio's one and probably only Academy Award speech, he was talking about how pollution is destroying the earth, and like it took him 20 years to get there.
Yeah.
and that's
he's
what he
talking
talks about.
And I'm like, fine, but
Okay.
this is not a political standpoint. I'm just saying this does not have anything to do with you being the best actor in The Revenant. I want to know why you got this role, what you did to get this role. That would be interesting.
yeah,
that would be.
It's not like I'm pro pollution or anything. I'm just saying that wasn't really the proper place
No.
or time to sit there and make your political state. You know
And
what I
they
mean?
do it all the time.
Or environmental state.
They do it all the time. But I would love it. Roger Ebert said this. I'd love it if a director came up and said, well, the reason I was drawn to the story was because of this, and this is how I shot this because I wanted to symbolize, talk about the movie.
They never fucking do that. All they do is they have a list of people
Yeah.
that they want to thank for an award that they.
It was basically like,
it's gonna sit on a shelf somewhere.
vote for Bernie Sanders. Let me thank Jade and my son and this and this and this. And I go, what the fuck? I don't care about. I want to know why this movie's good or why you did well on this.
And
At least
you
in
will-
the VGAs, they
and
did
you
that.
will never know.
Yeah. And the Razzie people, that's a better thing to do because you never know who's going to show up, and it's great when they do.
You never know who's gonna show.
So, yeah, we're in agreement. I think it was a pretty obvious answer, but that's fine. And you should check out the Razzies. We will continue to always cover bad movies here. We already have, we found our first bad one of the year, my
It
friend.
sounds like we do have our first bad
Gods
one.
of Egypt.
Gods of Egypt
Woo!
that came out about 2 weeks ago. It's not looking good for Gerard Butler this
God.
year
There's-
because
yeah.
isn't he in that other movie London Falling? London is falling.
Morgan Freeman and all that or something. Yeah.
Not from what I hear.
Well, that's,
not looking very hot
You don't
either.
compete with the big man, Ryan
Come on.
Reynolds.
It's going to be a rough year for Gerard Butler.
Yes, sir. All right, Steve. So, anyways, what do you think? We'll put it up at the Friday poll.
This will
Razzies,
be the
Oscars.
Friday poll. Pick a side. Razzies or Oscars.
Two more segments.
Gonna have to move on to the next segment now. It always pains me when I see stories like this that I have to bring up because it's just so fucking weird and bizarre, and I don't know why this is a thing on the internet. We're gonna make it weird.
Make it weird.
So here I have an article from the Huffington Post, and the article is titled, "Sorry everyone, this jacket is the new hashtag the dress." Now, for anybody who's not familiar, or if it's seeped out of your short-term memory somehow,
God bless if it did.
let me tell you, the dress was a online hashtag that was being passed around online right around this time last year.
Yeah,
looks
it
like
was.
It was at the end of February, where people were debating the color of a dress online. Some people thought that the color of the dress was black and gold.
Black and blue.
Black and
versus
blue.
White and gold.
Oh, white and gold, yes. And here, I'm staring at a picture
I
of
need
it.
to see this again.
I'm staring at a picture of it on my computer right now.
Can you show it to me? You want to flip it
I
over?
can't flip it around.
Well, do I have to get up?
Yeah, you have to get
All right,
up.
hold on. Let me see this thing.
And from the looks of it, if you think that this dress is anything other than blue and gold, you need to get your fucking eyes checked.
It's white and blue and black.
It's blue and some other shitty pale color.
You have to pick either white or gold or blue and black.
Okay, well, then it's blue and black. That's what it is. But anyway. What other one? The jacket? Yeah, let me see. We're looking at pictures right now for anybody that cares to know. That's what the jacket looks like. And who cares? Who gives a fuck what color that jacket is? I have no idea what the options are. I'm going to get to the story here in a second. Looking around. Boom. Here we go. The jacket in real life is blue and white. The other person thinks that the jacket is fuck all. I don't know. Doesn't say. Black and brown.
All right, now
Here we go. Yes, the jacket.
what are they?
The options are white and blue
I'm back in my seat.
or black and brown.
But there was like two
How
other
about who
options.
gives a fuck?
I'm back. There was
What
like
color?
two other options. Here's the thing. Here's the issue I had. I saw it white and gold. Believe it or not, the dress. I
Well,
was on
you
white
need
and
to
gold.
get your fucking eyes checked.
You are right, because it's like for something. But there's other people like me, like slightly less than half the country saw it my way. The problem I have with this scenario, with this going around, is that first of all, not as popular as the dress that broke the internet.
No, because there are comments on here, and the first one is, I don't care what color the jacket is, burn it. I don't have enough energy to process the jacket right now. I really don't care. So obviously,
Good.
people are, they're catching on to what this person's trying to do.
Yeah, they're trying to
they're trying to emulate something that caught fire for some reason last
By
year.
accident, yeah.
Yeah. That
Now,
here we are debating colors for some
It was like when
stupid
people
reason.
said who's the mom, and it was like this three black women next to each other. Who's the mom? And then two white women did it, and it was so obvious trying to rip off of that. Weeks later, it was so stupid. Now, here's the thing with this one. The problem with this is that there's 4 options, and that is not good for the internet. We don't do pick a side and give you 4 options. We do pick a side. Yeah, there's 2 other ones. I was reading about this. There's like other ones that you can find. It's because people were seeing it green and gold, and I think there was like
the
steel gray.
original person that posted this just said, I see white and blue, but my friend sees black and brown.
See, I don't even see
So
that one. I
there's
see
2.
like a grayish and a green
I
gray.
see an old piece of shit, Adidas jacket. It doesn't even look like a jacket. It looks like a sweatshirt. So maybe we should be
I think
debating
is,
that. Is it a jacket or is it a
because
sweater?
the material is clearly some type of breathable material. Like a sweatshirt has more of that woolly.
Looks like it's made out of toilet paper, maybe.
No.
Yeah.
You don't wear
brawny
any of that.
paper towels.
Here's the thing. You are not an athleisure dresser. You see,
I am not a dresser, no.
You don't dress in the athleisure.
You cannot store clothes
You don't
inside
even-
of me.
You don't have any piece of workout gear in your closet.
I do have some mesh shorts that don't fit.
That's like a staple for me.
That makes, just being honest here.
But that it looks like some type of sports jacket. I think it's Adidas. It looks like it's Adidas.
It's an Adidas jacket,
with
yeah.
that weird flower, the alternate one, not the. So, but yeah, there was like 4 different options. That's the problem. You can't break the internet and divide the internet if you can't just pick a side. We've come across this. Good for the dress, but this is so second rate. It's
I thought the dress came out as I said February of last year.
Yeah.
That was like 2 months before we started this podcast. And
Yeah.
I even said before our first show, I said, looking for weird stories. I was like, man, where is something like the dress at when I need it now?
Exactly.
Well, here we are, almost a year later.
there we go. But it's not as good.
It's nowhere near as good.
It's like when Zola's story hit, and then all these other Twitter long reads hit, and none of them were good. I read one about. It was a nice one. It was about a guy helping out homeless people. It was like, this isn't Zola's story. Fuck that. I don't want.
Yeah, that sounds stupid.
So.
But
Yeah, I don't know.
here we are. I'm telling you, if you see any sort of hashtag the jacket floating around, stay away from it. Just don't give these people any sort of validation for coming up with this stupid, monotonous argument that has been just so fucking tired.
Yeah.
And we're done. The internet is done with it. We're done with it.
Yeah, we got to move
I
on
wanna
to
talk-
something else.
it's just weird.
what are we
Now it's
moving
just,
on to?
and that's why I put it in the make it weird category, because you're just coming off as weird. You're just fucking bizarre.
Yeah, it's not the lead story.
This is what you're talking
Not
about.
the lead story, my friend. Steve, close the show, buddy.
Sounds like I'm going to close the show. Hey, if you didn't notice, you had an extra day in the month of February. You got an
No.
extra day this year. We're going to talk about Leap Day in the last word.
The last word.
So I've always been very curious about this extra day that seems to pop up every 4 years or so.
Got to keep on track with that rotation,
And it just, I was always curious, like, where does this day come from? And is there any sort of significance? And, it's not really a holiday. It's not recognized as a holiday. Although some people that work their normal jobs, like, their banking hours and people that have normal lives and stuff, they always say, oh, man, this should be like a holiday. I'm like, yeah, once every 4 years you get some fucking holiday pay for leap year.
We need more holidays. We're going to have a new one.
But this article coming from theweek.com.uk, this is the British The Week, says that February will have 29 days this year, as it does every 4 or thereabouts. In fact, the rules for governing leap year are a little more complicated than they first seem. So here's the first thing that we want to discuss. Why is it called a leap year? Like, what does it mean?
What does it mean?
Here it is.
Double rainbow.
Fixed dates in the calendar, such as Christmas, normally move forward one day in the week each year. So if it was on Thursday last year, it will be on Friday this year.
Correct.
That's what it says. If December 25th was a Thursday in 2014, it will be a Friday in
Oh,
2015.
it's like you read the article.
This year, however, the extra day in February means Christmas will leap over Saturday and fall on a Sunday.
Interesting.
So that's what that means.
Thank you.
Never knew that.
Interesting.
Why do we need leap year? Well, it takes time for the Earth to complete one orbit around the sun. It's approximately 365 days, but not exactly. One solar year actually comes out to 365.2422 days.
So that would
So
be
this
a
describes.
quarter.
So it's basically like a remainder when you're doing long division, and those numbers have to go somewhere. So every 4 years we get this.
And we're still close, too.
yeah.
It's not even precise. It would have to be 20.
Yeah,
it would have
it's-
to be exactly 0.25.
so an extra day is added every 4th year to make things right.
So it's basically the Earth is 365 days and 6 hours.
Yeah, this is what you
Yeah.
were talking about. However, one additional day every 4 years is actually slightly too much, given that the solar year is not a round 365.25 days.
Right.
To account for this, years divisible by 100, such as 1800 and 1900, are not normally leap years,
Okay.
even though they are also divisible by 4 to bring the figure even closer. The reality, years divided by 400, such as the year 2000, are
okay.
leap years.
Okay. And know what that is? That would be it was Year of the Dragon.
Yeah. You know what? I didn't know that.
'Cause
I just know that's why
every 12 years.
That's Y2K.
It was.
That's
Never
where the
happened.
world
Remember
shut
that?
down.
Yeah.
That's where Skynet took over.
Yeah. Could happen. Go ahead.
So here we
What else we
go.
got?
When was leap year introduced? This was back in the times of Julius Caesar, the Roman Empire, who were the ones that were first following the 365-day-a-year calendar. and they had, which had an extra month every 4 years.
Ophiuchus.
So that's kind of weird.
Remember that whole thing? Remember Ophiuchus, Steve?
I do.
Everybody flipped out because their signs were. You get with the modern times. That's not
So
the
that's
calendar we
that's
use.
where it originated. Now we get
All
to
right.
some interesting things.
All right.
Some stuff that you actually care about, like
Oh, I cared about that. That was interesting.
now that you know the history,
Thank you.
we can go to what happens if you were born on a leap year. It's very interesting
leap
stuff.
year or leap day? Because I was born on a leap year.
What happens if you were born on
In
a
February,
on
so-
leap day?
A leap day.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if you're born on February 29th, which happens every 4 fucking years,
Can
which
I,
we just
I wanna-
established.
I want to give a quick shout out here. My buddy,
To who?
he won't matter. My buddy, he was born February 28th. His name is Chris.
Well, that's not leap year.
It was on a leap year though.
Yeah, but it's not leap day.
Yeah, and his mom made sure he got him out. From my understanding, Chris, correct me if I'm wrong, but you're first of all, happy birthday. Second of all, if your mom wanted to get you out of there,
She
so
was
you didn't
pushing him
have
out
to do that,
so hard. She was like, "He can't not have a birthday."
It was. I think it's true. Yeah, because that'd be
Oh, it's
weird.
true,
That would
huh?
suck if you had that, right?
Well, first off, if you were born on a leap day, this article says you are very unusual. The odds
well,
of
he's
being,
definitely unusual.
the odds of being a leapling as a leap day baby are sometimes called 1 in 1,400, which actually isn't that high of a statistic. 1 in 1,400?
14. Well, 365 times 4, and then you would add.
It's a lot of math. That's too much math.
I've got a calculator.
However, you also face the prospect of spending the majority of your life with no official birthday.
Yeah.
Did you fucking imagine that? No birthday presents, no birthday cake, no birthday balloons, no birthday clown,
1461, by the way.
no birthday train ride.
Just wait
God.
every 4 years. But I always thought it was funny. It's like, hey, you just age every 4 years. So when you're 8, you're 2. See what I'm
So
saying?
for legal purposes, such as for voting or for purchasing alcohol, people born on a leap day are allocated a March 1st birthday on non-leap years.
So you have to celebrate March 1st.
You have to celebrate it March 1st.
Well, then doesn't that derail from the people that are actually born on March 1st?
Yeah, it does. It's sort of like now everybody that was born. Now, lucky for me, I had a 3-day window.
Yeah.
there.
Well, you weren't born on a leap year, though, right?
I was not born on a leap year.
So you had no threat. I had a
But-
threat. I was 15
That sounds
days
terrible.
away. You know?
But I mean, I was born on March 4th, which is that 3-day window.
Right. But you were fine. You had no chance.
So leap year traditions. This is the most famous custom. Here we go.
All right,
associated with leap year is that women proposing to men.
Yeah.
Yes, folklore has it that Saint Brigid, an Irish nun, sought and gained permission from St. Patrick himself to allow women to propose on leap day in many countries,
That's funny.
including Denmark and Finland. A refusal was traditionally accompanied by presence of clothing to soften the blow. So if
So
a
the-
guy said no to you, he had to give you a dress
All right.
or some new panties.
Now I will. I did see that on Facebook. Somebody. I don't think he understood the tradition. I saw somebody's like, "Hey, my girlfriend just proposed to me, gave me a cupcake on Leap Day. I don't know what that means. Ha ha ha."
This is apparently a custom.
Then I think today or yesterday I found out they are indeed actually engaged, and I'm like, because she probably went, "No, that's a thing," and he was like, "Well, yeah," and I'm like, "That's kind of cute."
Oh, so they definitely got
Yeah.
like engaged.
Yeah, isn't that weird?
rough.
Yeah.
However, neither men nor women are likely to be doing any leap year proposing in Greece, where it is considered an unlucky time for marriage. So I guess the entire month of February, they're just fucked.
I think if you get married, you have
gonna get-
50% chance of working out anyway. So how lucky is that, right?
Similar superstitions about leap year, suppose infelicity also exists in Italy, where the saying goes, leap year, gloomy year. And in Russia, where leap years are associated with freak weather and a higher risk of dying. So those Russians are always so morbid. You know, all this shit that they
Taking
know,
over the
you know,
Ukraine.
You know,
Now, is that it for the traditions?
that's it for the traditions.
Now, interesting. One that didn't brought up. There's a few things. One thing I wanted to talk about was wearing blue and yellow. Have you ever heard of that one?
I have not, because this is the first time I've ever looked up information about Leap Day,
Interesting. Yeah, you're supposed to wear blue and yellow, much like St. Patty's Day. You know,
where you wear blue and yellow.
if you
St.
would wear
Patty's Day.
green, if you don't
Correct.
wear green, you get to pinch people. You get to sexually harass people if they don't wear
Oh
green.
yeah.
So,
if
they're
you
not
wear
wearing-
blue, you get to kick
if
people in
you're
the balls.
not wearing blue and yellow, pinch. And there was a whole episode
Wait,
on.
it's still a pinch
uh,
if you're not wearing blue.
well, it depends on where you pinch. You know what I'm saying? But I'm sure
They
everything
stole that from St. Pat. Can't they come up with anything on their own?
Well, then there was a whole thing. This was really fun.
Stealing March 1st birthdays, stealing St. Patrick's Day traditions.
Well, what are they supposed to
Come
do?
on.
And then on 30 Rock. Ever watch 30 Rock?
No.
It's a great show.
Sounds
And
terrible.
they have you would really like it. You don't listen, but it's a great show. With your experience,
Stop stealing traditions.
whatever they do this Leap Day special, and they did it. And they made up all these wacky traditions because you know how every show has those like, oh, this is the Valentine's Day episode. They did a Leap Day one that sort of mocked all the holidays. And They
Okay.
used it. So they
Sort of like Arbor Day.
Arbor Day is a fan. You don't fucking talk about Arbor.
How about
Day.
that?
You don't fucking talk about Arbor Day.
No, you like Arbor Day.
This is
bitch.
Arbor Day, okay? This is serious business. Anyway,
So anyway,
so they made they kind of went wild with the blue and yellow. They made up all these wacky traditions. They even did like those kids movies where they have like some like the Santa Claus like with Tim Allen and everything where
oh yeah, with Martin Short.
they did a version of that with Jim Carrey as I forget the character's name. He was Leap Man something, and he's like this half fish, half man who goes around and gives candy and makes little girls and boys cry at the same time. No, I forget the lore behind it, but they keep cutting to this movie.
Kind of reminds me of when I saw Krampus.
They keep
I
cutting,
cried.
but this is meant to be the joke. They keep cutting to this fake movie starring Jim Carrey turning into this Leap Day hero, and it's funny because everybody in the office understands how Leap Day works except for Liz Lemon. So she's like, I didn't even know this was a thing. Like the audience, and you have Jack McBrayer and like Tracy Morgan and everybody going, "What are you talking about? This is what we do every year." And they're all
you were
getting-
still talking about 30 Rock.
yeah, I was.
I totally stopped listening.
So it was. That's one thing you can watch. I still haven't watched it. I want to watch it. It's funny. Trying to think of other things. Yeah, the proposal thing. I remember that.
Yeah, that's bizarre.
And then blue and yellow. That's a thing. So
Is that it? Is that all the traditions?
sure.
And at the end of the day, leap year just sounds kind of like a bust. Like, I'm glad we only get it once every 4 years.
I just feel bad for the people that were born on Leap Day. I will say.
I don't feel bad for them at all. It was their decision.
Oh,
It was
I
their
did have
fault.
one more thing. I forget who. It was one of our founding fathers when they were coming up with how
George Washington.
to. It was not George Washington.
Thomas
I
Jefferson.
want to say it could have been.
We're gonna go with that.
It could have been Franklin. I'm not sure.
Jefferson.
I want to say Franklin. I don't know.
So Jefferson.
So anyway, he was saying that the election should be held on February 29th because then it would be every 4 years. And it is during the leap day because elections are held during the leap year. But he said it would be cool if they put it on February 29th and that's when they'd start and end because that would be
because that
precise. And I'm
obviously
like,
that
that's
day,
a cool idea.
That day needs some modification. It needs to be revisited.
Yeah,
because I don't quite like what they've done with the traditions and stuff. I mean, they're just kind of bland. Kind of it's a boring day, and the only thing that people can say is I was reading about this whenever it was trending the other day online was, what are you going to do with your extra day? And I'm like, I'm going to do the same thing I do every fucking day. I'm going to open a beer. I'm going to sit and watch Netflix.
How would you do? It's not like you get an extra day. You just, it's not like an extra
It's
hour.
not like we were awarded another day of the year.
It was Monday. That was the difference. And now Christmas is moved 2 days back than you thought it was. That's the only difference.
Make no mistake, we still only have 365 days. I'm not telling you that there's 366 days this year
It's okay.
because we're not having that.
Well, we are.
Okay.
That's okay. You got to make sure everything's in line. You can't
It'll
be...
fuck up my whole bi-weekly paycheck. We start doing that shit. Start adding in days like wherever we see fit.
Just do it.
Cool.
I think that's all I have.
I would
I like
love-
the election idea. You like that idea? I've always
I
liked
like the Julius Caesar thing. I think we should have an extra month.
it. Extra month. No,
Fuck it.
No,
Just
no,
put
no.
another month in there.
No, against that. Totally against
Really?
that. Yeah.
You don't want a 13-month calendar?
Because then that is what stirred the whole Ophiuchus. Remember that Ophiuchus, that whole thing that went around about everybody's horoscopes getting fucked up?
No.
Okay, because that's what that is. Because we go
So
off
because
of
there's only 12 astrological signs,
Yeah.
we can only have 12 months. Is that what you're saying?
12 months, 12 horoscope signs.
Are there
et cetera.
12 horoscope
Yes.
signs? Okay.
And then there's the 13th one, Ophiuchus, which was, I think, Roman, which is not the one we go off of. The modern one we use now, and then everybody was like freaking out over. Wait a minute, our signs are like, no, that's just an ancient one we don't use, and that was been around for thousands of years. So your horoscope is still the same. And I was like, calm down, everybody.
So again, piggybacking off of other people's
It was nonsense.
traditions or something.
And then also Weird Al had to come out and
makes
add the
sense.
Ophiuchus line to your horoscope for today, which was I'm glad he did.
Well, that's just beautiful.
But anyways, yeah, Leap Day, I'm fine with it. It's cool, but
It's not the greatest day.
You got to
And,
do it. There's some pluses and minuses.
Yeah, I mean, I talk about every other holiday. I figured, it's not really a holiday. It's just
extra day.
it's unusual. It doesn't happen all the time.
I just feel bad for February.
Just wanted to give you a little background as to how boring
They never
it
reached
is.
that 30 mark. February, poor February.
Yeah, well, they never will, unless we add 2 extra days.
And happy birthday to my buddy Chris.
367 days a year.
He's getting married too.
That's
But
wonderful.
he didn't wait till then. He was like making sure everything was going smooth.
So anyway, that's our show for the
yeah,
week.
nice and quick one because
It was
fucking sick and tired.
really fun. Yeah, I'm sick and tired of sitting here talking to you.
Yeah, you suck.
especially about the Oscars. I'm just over it.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll talk about it again next year.
I will say this: every time I do watch the Oscars, I sometimes go, wow, I really should watch it. And I go, no, I shouldn't. Then I come back and I'm like, that's not,
I say that I'll watch at least the best picture. Like I say
I
that.
never do. I still
and then
you watch
I'm like-
Birdman?
I eventually watched Birdman, but it was like 6 months after the Oscars.
Yeah, that's 2 in a row for Michael Keaton. But I'm sitting here going,
Was he in Spotlight?
he was in Spotlight. Yeah,
I had no idea.
So I'm sitting here
who's
going,
in it.
I'm sitting here thinking to myself, I'm like, this is a different argument back to that, but I want to say this. Like when I was in college doing film projects,
I worked with Michael Keaton. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
because he had nothing to do. He was going around
He's
saying,
just
"Hey
waiting-
guys, guess what? I'm Batman."
He's just waiting for Birdman.
So I was, I remember the senior project came up, and you probably have a very similar mindset. And I was like, everybody in the class is like trying to make this next, raunchy, not raunchy, like very gritty movie. This
Everybody wants
hard-hitting
to make
movie.
like some serious drama.
And I go,
You're in film school. You're not gonna do it.
it's like, first of all, way too hard to accomplish. You don't have the resources. You don't have the time. I went out there and said, I'm going to make a dopey comedy buddy movie, which I did. And guess what? I was the only one in my class to finish the thing on time. Of
course.
And to me, I went, that makes more sense because, it'd be cool to one day do that. But it's like, this is what I am. This is why I like the bad movies. This is why I like the good BC movies because they're usually more interesting. They're more different. They're not always, big serious type things. They're more fun. And that is kind of why I like this. And I like doing shows like this, because it's like, what am I going to do? Talk serious? Fuck that.
yeah, it's dumb.
And
just keep talking.
you, you kind of have a similar story
Keep-
too.
keep
It's
talking
like,
ser- yeah, I mean-
you didn't make much serious stuff at all.
I've
really.
got some really
Stupid
fucking
bullshit, yeah.
atrocious college projects that
which is awesome.
was really funny. But anyway, come back next week because we will be talking Austin's back in the day legends of the Hidden Temple. That and so much more as the Bad Culture Crew rolls on.
Thank you for listening to Bad Culture Crew. We hope you enjoyed the show. Don't forget to check your feed every Thursday for a new episode. Be sure to stay connected with the crew on social media. We're at Bad Culture Crew on Twitter, the Bad Culture Crew Facebook page, and of course on badculturegroupproductions.com. We are pleased to bring you the best of the worst. Because at Bad Culture Crew, we find the terrible so you don't have to.